Fuck. All right, America, we gotta talk. This is important. This is important. This is fucking important. Okay? Okay, so behind me, of course, is the now iconic image of Trump after he's just allegedly been shot in the ear. I mean, all signs currently point to the fact that he was. So, whatever. This is the worst thing that could possibly be happening right now. Actually, it's the second worst thing that could possibly have happened in regards to Donald Trump in this situation. The first worst is that the killer had succeeded, which I will explain why that is worse. Because I know some of you are going to be like, he's a piece of shit. Thank God. I would be so happy if his head exploded. Except you're not thinking it through very well. You're not thinking it through well at all. This is terrible. Because this is good for Trump. Do you see this fucking picture? Do you see it? This was good for him. This will make him strong. That which does not kill me only makes me stronger in the polls. Not only that, but a fucking assassination attempt will just justify all the batshit insane conspiracy theories that all his biggest fans already have running on in their head. This validates this to paranoid people. Validates. Dude, look at it. Does this look like Trump losing? This will only give him more popularity, more strength. This is exactly the kind of bullshit that Trump runs on. Even with his ear allegedly bleeding, he's got his fist in the fucking air for a perfect propaganda moment. Even when bullets are going at him and his people are dying, he can't not remember he's on camera. Trump's not good at a lot of things, but what he is good at is propaganda and self-marketing. In fact, this would be an amazingly perfect picture if it wasn't for this weird thing right here. If only this were further into the picture. This fucking thing's already on t-shirts, people. The internet's memeing it. So, before you stop and think, oh, that shit's funny, let me just, point out to you that it's not. This is the worst thing that could possibly have happened, specifically for anyone who wants Biden to get elected. Or literally anyone else to get elected. Okay. Reality check. Just quick reality check. Do you know what everyone's most favorite people in history are? Like, at least 50% of the time? They're all people who got assassinated or killed by the state. Now, I want to phrase those as separate things. You can be assassinated and killed by the state, but you could also be assassinated not by the state. The point is that we have a whole word for what this is. If he had died, this would be worse. I know what you're thinking. But Ruben, in the short term, we wouldn't have to deal with Trump ruining America. I mean, that's the obvious upside. However, the last thing we need is a far-right JFK. The last thing America needs is a martyr to Christian nationalism. It's the last thing anybody needs. It's literally the last thing America needs. Sure, we wouldn't have to deal with Trump for a period of time, and maybe America will make some positive progress, but then we will have also unleashed him into godhood. The godhood of being someone who's dead and can be put up on a mantelpiece where all their flaws disappear and all their fans talk about is how they wanted to go back to silver. Oh, by the way, that's a JFK reference for those who don't know about the JFK assassination. The point is a positive for Trump. Now, I have been using the word allegedly bleeding from the ear because I won't lie to you. When I first saw the video, which was a surreal moment, I won't lie, it looks fake as fuck. Like, just as far as things happening. Now, I'll be clear here. I currently believe that this event is real. And I do not have any evidence, nor have I seen any clear evidence to prove that this moment was staged. I'm not saying that stuff doesn't exist. What I'm saying is I will not speculate into conspiracy theory without evidence. I mean, technically, you could argue that I'm already speculating, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is staged because A, I'm not a reporter, and B, I just don't have evidence yet. Yes, I've seen the blurry picture of Donald Trump at the golf course where his ear looks where they say you can't see that his ear's fucked up, but like the picture's super blurry. I'm sorry, it's not clear enough. His ear might be fucked up. I don't know. It's not good enough evidence. We need better evidence. If you can get better evidence, if someone can get close enough to Trump to take off the bandage and see if his ear is fine, I will give you all the money I have in the world, except I don't have a lot of money, so you probably don't want to do that. But the point is, this has been a disaster for us. And by us, I mean anyone who hates Donald Trump. Anyone who knows deep in their hearts that Donald Trump is an idiot who's bad for America and whose basic policies are just tearing the country apart. Look, I'll give it to you straight. When it comes to voting, the only thing anyone, anywhere, should be voting on is legislation. What type of legislation has a politician written, and what type of legislation do they claim they're behind? You kind of have to give them the benefit of the doubt the first time they run for something, but after they've run for something, look at the legislation. It's the only thing that matters. Literally the only thing that matters. And when it comes to that, I fucking hate Trump. When it comes to his legislation and his policies and what he's aimed to do for America, my response is this man is going to burn the country to the fucking ground. And almost everything I thought about him before he was elected in the first place came true. I actually underestimated his ability to destroy America. And now this happens. Now this happens. Kyle Gass got on stage at what I read was a Rock the Vote charity concert. If that detail is true, he fucked up. Because, hey, that's the type of comment that gets you investigated by the Secret Service. Remember what happened to Ted Nugent? Yep. But Rock the Vote's meant to be nonpartisan, so you can't go around talking about getting any presidents getting their head blown off. Now, to be fair, he's not currently the president. But just so you know, once he's president, now it won't be retroactive, so Kyle Gass won't go to jail. But retroactively, it's not okay to joke about killing the president of the United States legally. Just so you know. There's a South Park bit about it. It's very, don't do it. Do not fucking do it. He's not the president yet, though, so, get those jokes out now. But anyways, this is problematic. This is problematic. Like, I need you to stop and think for a second. Who are the two presidents that anyone, and that almost everyone, regardless of their politics, except for maybe some extreme anti-American nationalists, almost every American has two presidents who they generally think of as cool. What do those two presidents have in common? They were both shot in the head. JFK in the front of the head, and Abraham Lincoln in the back of the head. That's right. You heard what I said. Let's move along. Anyways, they're the two presidents that no one talks shit about anymore. Everyone loves those guys. What do they have in common? Well, besides progressive values, they both got shot in the head. I know what you're saying. Ruben, come on. This crossover because one of them used to be a Republican, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's another thing to think about. You know who else got shot in the head? Actually, I don't know where he got shot. Actually, now I'm saying that out loud. You know who else was assassinated? Martin Luther King Jr., for clarity. Martin Luther King was assassinated. And now, today, people who in the 60s would have turned the fire hoses on him quote his speeches. They try and sell Apple products with his image. Once someone gets assassinated, they're no longer just a person. They're a person that can go on anything, any product, any slogan, any political movement. Once you're dead, you can't stop anybody. You can't clarify what you really believe to the public. The truth is, the longer that this ugly fascist orange is allowed to live, the more likely he will do something insane and stupid. Something so full of hubris that it colors him as he really is. One fucking terrible dude. But if he dies in a non-embarrassing way, if he dies in an embarrassing or boring way, would probably still be okay. You know, like just trip on something, slip in the shower, massive heart attack, any of those kind of things. Those would be great because they're nobody's fault except his for his lifestyle choices. Honestly, it's amazing he hasn't had a heart attack from all the stress. But if he were to be killed by an assassin, we will never hear the end of this fat piece of shit. I'm sorry. I shouldn't call him fat as a derogatory term. We will never hear the end of this gross child molesting piece of shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Have you not seen the case against him where he and Jeffrey Epstein molested this one girl a whole bunch? Yeah. Fuck this guy. But not in a way where he'd die, because that would defeat my point. If Donald Trump is assassinated before the election, or maybe even after the election, he will ascend to a sort of political godhood reserved for people who either accomplished a lot or were assassinated or were just the biggest fucking piece of shit liars the world has ever seen, like Reagan. Yes, I am leaving in dramatic pauses after I drop things on the audience that they might be shocked by. Now, look, we don't know a lot about the shooter, although stuff is slowly, gradually coming out about him. In fact, by the time you watch this, you probably know more about him than I do. Well, I mean, at the time I'm recording this, in the future, I probably will know this same or relatively similar amounts of information as people who pay attention to things. But we do know a handful of really weird details. So far, he doesn't make a lot of sense. He's a registered Republican. Dad was a libertarian. Mom was a Democrat. The gun was an AR-15 style rifle that his father purchased legally. He's a libertarian, so it's not terribly shocking that he purchased an AR-15 style assault rifle. In fact, not surprising at all. Almost predictable. And we also know from the barely any of the information that has been released about what was on his devices, like cell phones, is that one might construe that he was planning to kill Trump and Biden. He had a couple other officials' pictures in his phone as well, and he may also be clinically depressed. That being said, he had pictures of the Attorney General, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden in his phone. And he had previously Googled speaking engagements for Donald Trump and the DNC. So I don't know what kind of deranged shooting spree this guy was planning on going. And I actually just had a thought right now that I would share, but it's about the current president, and it would be illegal. Nope, that sounded worse. Actually, the implications, because I don't mean it's not that bad. It wasn't that bad. It still would be, oh dear. I hope the CIA is not listening. I currently want Joe Biden to live a long and fruitful life. That's not what I was implying at all. Just digging a hole, Ruben. Just digging a hole. Back up. Turn it around. Maybe edit this part out. Or don't. Leave it for the memes. Let's go. The point is that shit is scary. I'm currently living in fear that some deranged Donald Trump fan will use this as an opportunity to say, hey, the Trump haters drew first blood, we get to go out there and start shooting Democrats and stuff now. I really hope that doesn't happen. That's what I'm living in fear of. The world is crazy. And MAGA, extra crazy. The thing is I think Donald Trump is just a shyster. I think he's just a liar who will say whatever he can to get whatever political leverage he can. This guy used to be a salesman, and as someone who's worked in the sales before, you can't trust salesmen. You can't. This man has built his life off of selling himself, his image, his name, properties that he owns. Oh, and lawsuits against people who didn't make the money that they promised him they would make, but also didn't make the money that he promised them they would make. Bankrupted some casinos. Nearly got WWF Raw canceled for how poorly he ran it. It was a storyline thing. It was terrible. It was fucking terrible. It nearly destroyed the WWE, or at least Monday Night Raw. This man who has been to Jeffrey Epstein's island, specifically on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, at least 7 times. This man with 34 felony accounts, this convicted rapist, this man with numerous sexual assault cases against him. This man does not deserve the political godhood that he is managing to achieve. And that upsets me and makes me very worried for America. Because believe it or not all leftists hate America. I'm a leftist, and I actually think America is awesome. America represents serious potential. Has America done fucked up things? Yes. America has frequently failed to live up to its potential and its own claims of decency and freedom. But America still holds the potential for those things. The democratic process, and yes, I know we live in a representative democracy known as a republic, as a democratic republic, but you have to understand that's literally just a type of democracy. It is literally a type of democracy. The point is that we as citizens can engage directly with politics. Not every time, not everywhere, and not how we'd like to. And we could certainly have a conversation about that fucking electoral college. But the potential for America and its beliefs in freedom and equality is still there, as long as this man doesn't become president. I'm not going to lie to you. If this man becomes president, I'm not confident that America's going to make it. I genuinely think this man will destroy America. I've heard what his plans are. They're terrible. This man is going to spend so much money, so much taxpayer money. Like, do you understand how expensive his promises are? Do you really think it's going to be free or cheap to just mass deport immigrants? Do you think that's going to be cheap? It's not. That would cost ludicrous amounts of money. And the faster he puts it together, the more money it's going to cost. If it happens too fast, it's guaranteed that American citizens who just look like illegals will be hurt. If you catch my drift that I'm saying there. Project 2025 will also fucking wreck our country as well. You don't listen, Christians, I need you to understand something. In a society where everyone has to love God, then no one will truly love God, because to love God is a choice. And if it is a choice that is made mandatory by society, then how can you say you have truly chosen to love God? I want you to sit with that. Think about it for a while. What is choice? What does it mean that we choose to love God? And how will that be changed if we suddenly live in a society where it's mandatory? where it's pushed on everyone, where it's culturally stigmatized to not be that thing? How many people will be confused into Christianity? Or how many people will just put on a Christian front to survive? Do you think that's what God wants from you? Something to think about. I got so many other reasons why I think you destroy America, but those are the ones that come off the top of my head, and I'm tired. I'm so fucking tired. God save America. Thank you for watching or listening. If you're on YouTube, button, subscribe, comment, share, all that shit that I need you to do to support me. And if you're watching it on a podcast station, well, apparently Spotify has comments now. So I can't wait to see what people start writing there. Will it be smarter or dumber than YouTube? Hard to say. But I would like to find out. You can also contact the show by emailing me at rubenuncut@gmail.com. Have a wonderful whatever, wherever, whoever you are. God save us all.